Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki from Janik Fashions, and in this video I will be making a high neck or a turtleneck puff sleeve shirt. And so this is the shirt that I created in this video. And I love how it turned out. I love that you could wear it with jeans and it gives a more casual look, or you can wear it with a skirt and it gives a nice business look. If you like what you see on my channel and you want to see more like it, don't forget to press like, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. In order to make my high neck puff sleeve shirt, I'm actually just going to use a regular t-shirt. This is a regular little crop shirt, and this is a prime example of when I'm going to take one thing as a pattern and really transform it into a finished product. And I don't want my actual shirt that I'm making to be cropped, so I'm going to cut further down to get enough fabric to make this shirt long enough. It's currently folded in half. You can take a look at what that looks like. It's really pretty. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half again. So the fold line of my shirt is against the fold line of the fabric, and as you can see, the fabric stretches in this direction just like the shirt, and I'm going to pin the shape around the shirt. And I've extended the pins a little bit longer than the shirt so that my shirt that I'm making won't be cropped. Alright, so I folded my sleeves in and I'm going to go ahead and cut around the shape of the shirt where I've pinned here and here for the shoulders and around the neck. My shirt is cut out, but the left side is pinned to the right side, and I did that for symmetry. But now I can unpin, take the two top layers and repin, and then pin the two bottom layers together. And I'm going to do that the whole way down and at the shoulder. Now that my shirt is all pinned together, I'm going to take it to the machine and I'm going to sew the shoulders and the side seams. Since I'm sewing with a knit fabric, I want to make sure that I have my machine set to the zigzag stitch. Now it's time to create our neckband, and there's a few things that are important about the way that I'm going to be creating my neckband. So the first thing is that I'm going to be cutting my fabric against the bias. So what that means, if it stretches in this direction, notice it doesn't stretch in this direction, I'm actually going to be cutting it at a diagonal, 45 degrees. And the reason I'm doing that is so that it will fall really nicely around the neckline. Another thing that's really important about the neckband that I'll be creating is that I'm going to be making it smaller than the circumference of the neck. So I measured around the neckline of the shirt and got 18 inches. And so my neckband will be about 3/4 of that. I'd like my neckband to be about 2 inches wide, but because I'm doubling up on the fabric, I'm going to multiply that by 2 and add another inch or so for seam allowance. So I will be cutting a strip that is 5 inches wide. Here's my neckband cut on the bias. It's much longer than it needs to be. This is 18 inches and the neckline of my shirt is also 18 inches. However, I only need 80% of the length. So because the neckline is 18 inches, I am going to calculate 18 times 0.8. And when I do that, I get approximately 14.5 inches. So first, I'm going to fold my neckband in half, and I get my 2 inches width that I want going from here to here. And then I'm going to fold it in half this way. And notice this is done on the right side. And I would like my entire neckband to be 14.5 inches long. So I'm going to half that and I get 7.25 inches. So I'm going to measure that out. And I'm going to pin here. And I'm going to take this to the machine and sew a seam here, making the entire neckband approximately 14.5 inches. So here I have the body of my shirt and here I have my neckband. And in order to pin my neckband onto the neck of the shirt, what I'm going to do first is mark off the halfway points. So here we have the seam that we just created, and this is going to be my first halfway point on the other side. And I'm just going to use a pin to mark that point. All right, so now I know the halfway point on the right side and on the left side. I'm going to fold it to get my other halfway points. Now the goal here is that I'm going to be doing the same thing to the shirt so that I can match everything up. So now I have a pin marking off the left, the right, the front, and the back. And all of them are evenly spaced. And I'm going to do that to the neckline of the shirt as well. So we naturally have the left and the right of the neckline here, which is perfect. So now all I have to do is fold this in half to get the front and the back. Now that I have those key points marked on the neckline and on the neckband, now it's just a matter of matching them up. In order to match them up, I'm going to keep the shirt on the right side, and then I'm going to turn the neckband inside out and upside down. And I'm going to match my raw edges together and pin the neckline to the neckband. And you want to make sure that part with the seam goes in the back. Recall that the neckband is slightly smaller than the neckline of the shirt. So as you sew this, you want to make sure you're only sewing each quarter, and you want to stretch the fabric to make sure everything is flushed neatly against each other for a nice clean finish. So how I'm stretching it here. Also, don't forget to make sure that you are using a zigzag stitch. This is extremely important here since this part will be going around your neck and it will be very close to your neck, so you want it to be able to stretch. Here's what the shirt looks like so far with the neckband on, and so now I'm going to start working on the sleeve. So off camera, what I did is I traced the shape of a regular sleeve by putting the sheet of paper underneath the shirt and marking the curve of the arm line. So this is the shape that a regular sleeve would take. However, I want to have a puffy sleeve. So in order to achieve the puffy sleeve look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shape of the regular sleeve. Let's make that darker so you can see it. Oops. And instead of going to the regular shoulder point, I'm going to create a large arc. And this arc will create the puff of the sleeve. Now I did that freehand. Let's see how it turns out. So here I folded my fabric and it stretches in this direction, and I'm going to put the pattern that I just created onto the fold line of the fabric. And I'm going to pin here, as this is the area that will be sewn. Now, even though this is a puffy sleeve, it's a very short puffy sleeve. This is the section that will be the sleeve, and this will be the puff. Now, in order to get the point here, I'm going to cut a diagonal line going here. And again, it's just freehand. The key is that the other sleeve matches, so I will use this as the pattern for the other sleeve. Now I can take both sleeves to the sewing machine and sew the seam here and the short seam right here. Now I have my shirt and I have my two sleeves, and as you can see here, the sleeve is so much bigger than the armhole, and that is intentional, and so the sleeve will gather around, creating that puffy look. All right, so in order to accomplish that, I have my needle and thread, and I am going to do a base stitch around the sleeve that we created. And that base stitch will be used to gather the fabric. So in order to complete a base stitch, we just stick our needle in and out throughout the circumference of the armhole of the sleeve. So here I have my shirt inside out and my sleeve right side out, and the base stitch is going to give me control over how wide this sleeve is. So I can now change the circumference of the sleeve by gathering it. See, I gathered it extremely small here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to gather it to match the size of the sleeve here. And once I have the right size, I'm going to stick the sleeve into the shirt and match it up right side to right side. And I can adjust if it's a little bit too big or a little bit too small. I can adjust as I pin this together. And the goal here is to try to get the gathers mostly to the top of the sleeve to get that nice puffy look. So now that I have my sleeve pinned to my shirt on the inside, I'm going to feed the shirt into my sewing machine, and with the zigzag stitch I'm going to sew over these gathers. So before I finish this off with the overlock machine, I'm going to just remove that base stitch. Alright, so here's my shirt. For the final step, I am going to hem the bottom and the bottom of the sleeves. So in order to do that, I'm going to do a double fold. So I fold up once, and then again, and then I pin. And I'll do that the whole way around. So, if you're still watching this video, amazing. That must mean you're interested in learning how to sew different necklines and different types of sleeves, and I definitely have some videos for you. In fact, in my next video, I will be going over how to create this Milkmaid top that I'm currently wearing, and it wasn't too hard, it was a lot of fun to make. So go ahead and click the link there, and it will take you to some more fun tutorials with fun sleeves and fun necklines. Enjoy!